Today, we're talking about the uncertain future of Destiny, Activision taking aim at an increase in Call of Duty cheaters, and a big fall Xbox release is rumored to be delayed. Which one? Find out. Welcome, friends, to this week's episode of Good Playing With You, the weekly gaming podcast. I'm Dan Whitehill, and this week I'm joined by our Good Playing Good buddies, Matt Lord.
Hey, how's it going?
And Matt Maulding.
Hey now.
Before we jump to the headline, let's check in with my plucky pack of Matts and find out what everyone's been playing this week. Lord?
I fired up the Xbox Series S and jumped into Game Pass and got my hands on Kunitsugami, The Path of the Princess. And boys, this is a sleeper hit. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, nice.
It's like Capcom really captured some cool old school magic with this game. It doesn't feel like your modern slop. Like they tried something different with this, and I think they nailed it. I mean, it's not. I'm not sure if it's like 100% like game of the year material, but it does feel like a game that is different. It's like a tower defense. You're basically trying to navigate the princess from one point of the map to the other, and in between this, you have about a day to get her to a certain point on the map, and then it turns dark and monsters come out of these gates, and you got to position her in a correct spot on the map so she doesn't get swarmed by these monsters. And you have different villagers that you can place to different roles. You have like an archer or like a woodcutter who's like a guy with an axe, and you're basically just protecting this princess, and you're just running around as this badass samurai hacking up monsters. And I really think it's a cool concept. I think there's a lot to it there. And
I love the idea. The way you just sold it to me. I mean, that sounds amazing, but visually it looks like a mess. Like it's a really cool artwork, but just like all over the place. How can you tell what's going on?
I think it actually, like, when it does go into the night cycle, like I was mentioning, and the monsters come, I think it is like a lot easier for you to decipher what's an enemy, what's not. I think during the day, it's definitely kind of all over the place. It's I could see how like the art style though could be, kind of like, it could be either you love it or hate it. I kind of feel like, cause it's kind of artsy-ish. But I gotta say, like, for a game that's on Game Pass, it's definitely worth a try. I think it would be a great game on the Steam Deck. Like, it could be an awesome Steam Deck game. But I'm loving it so far, and that's been really fun. Then, of course, we played some Dead by Daylight, gents. That was a lot of fun.
That was good times.
That was real fun. We got our hands on that, the 8 survivors and 2 killers. I was just on the struggle bus the whole time.
I felt so bad, honestly, because there was a time when I was like, damn it, Lord, if you're going to keep blowing the jinn, get out of here. But I didn't mean it. And then you left, and I was like, no, come back. But then I was like, oh, he's going to blow it again. So I'm going to let him go. I felt so bad.
My kind of gripe with that game is I'm so bad that as soon as the killer sees me, I'm just going down. Like, I have no chance of escape. I am going to get tagged by this killer and be hooked up, and then you guys are going to have to come rescue me. So it's a learning experience every time I play that game. And then, of course, got a little bit of Overwatch in, and I got to play on the Xbox with Maulding for...
Yeah,
we got a
you
few
did really well. You were
doing
your Mercy. You were in your Mercy era.
I was in my Mercy era. That was a lot of fun. Playing with some of your boys, Maulding, and then I don't know. We unfortunately couldn't get the ranked going because we had the wide match situation. Happening. That was too bad.
It's just because you're much better than we are.
No,
it's fine.
I don't know.
It's
I think you might have been better, and it was just me being like, it's just.
I
it's
like
too
that.
bad.
Let's go with that. I think that's a better way to think about it.
But yeah, it's been a pretty full week of gaming. It's been a lot of fun. How about you guys?
Maulding?
So I was DBD. That was one of the first things last Friday. I think we all played together. It was kind of like riding a bike. I liked what they did with the 8v2. I thought it was fun. I like that there are set loadouts for the characters that you play, that they're all set up for you to, so there's no like fruffering around, if that's not even a word, or that's even a word, to try to get the right build. Like I didn't even have to think about it. I just chose whatever build matched the character that I wanted to play. So that was good. I wish there were a little bit more variety in killers, and I think that the Trapper is a way overpowered killer for that mode. So I wish it would have been swapped out for another one. But I guess the Nurse kind of balances it out, because the Nurse is really difficult to play on with a controller. So maybe that balances out the difficulty.
But there's crossplay.
Yeah. So what?
There's crossplay.
There is crossplay. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's the way I felt about the killers. Don't listen to anything I say. And yeah, so then the other thing is, last week we talked about being bi-curious for 7 Days to Die, and I'm proud to say that I'm full gay for it. No longer bi-curious. I did purchase it at the behest of one Dan Whitehill.
Dang, $40.
Well, I figured
$40.
So wait, let's back it up. There was a discount because I had purchased it before, so I think there was a $10 or $15 discount for that, and then I had $10 in credit from my regular monthly gaming that I do, and so I put that towards it too. So it ended up only being $20, basically the price of a KFC chicken bucket. So I foregoed my chicken bucket this week and bought 7 Days to Die to play with Dan.
That's awesome, and it was a good choice.
Yeah.
And I played a lot of it too. I also played DVD, but I know that like one of our viewers, Andrew, in the comments doesn't like when we talk about DVDs. Thinks we're sponsored by them.
Yes.
So I won't belabor that. It is fun. I am going to continue to play it. If you guys are around tomorrow night, definitely feel free to jump in. We should get a game going. Sorry, Andrew, but or Andrew, you could join us too.
Yeah.
Don't hate, play with us. And then the other game, of course, I've been playing is 7 Days to Die. I couldn't spend that much time on our podcast last week, and all our precious viewers and listeners' ears and gabbing about a game I'm not going to buy. So I just was like, you know what? I kind of talked myself into it, and luckily I talked Maulding into it too. Because I would have tried to talk you into it, Lord, but I know the style of games that you like, and you're not much of a base builder. And this is very much like Ark, like something that Maulding would like. So I was like, oh, this is easy. I could sell this guy.
Yeah, I was a pushover on it.
You were.
I'll tell you what, I rolled over so quickly.
But no, I think you did. I mean, it sounds like it's been a lot of fun though. Like you guys are both have a lot of time.
Yes. So I wanted to quickly do a little review between Maulding and I about 7 Days to Die version 1.0. So Maulding, what did you think? Where are you on
the spot? So one thing I absolutely hate is you sold me on the fact that our character's progress was going to travel from one world to another, and that is absolutely not the case. So
it's not the case right now. Who knows?
Right, it's right now. So I have my personal character, and then we have a game with our friend Jack that we've been playing, and then you and I had a third game that just you and I had, and that was my favorite one of the three that I've been playing, which you don't want to join anymore. So that guy's busy this week, out of it. So I've been playing just the you and I game and then the me game. And it really has taken me a few restarts to really get the hang of the level progression, because there are some things it just doesn't tell you, like that you can level up the main stat, which then allows you to level up the individual powers-ish, which it doesn't really explain that to you. And it took me an obscenely long time to figure that out. And so that was a little confusing, but the graphics are still not the best thing I've ever seen in the world, but the gameplay is super fun. And what they really nailed for me was, you see a building, there's gonna be something in that building that's useful. So you fight through the building, you get to the end, you get your loot, and then you get out. And each building, I think, from my experience, each building is like that, where there is something at the end, like a prize. They're almost like mini dungeons, I would say. Like, I feel like I'm going to start a dungeon and try to make my way through this house to get all the loot and fight all the zombies, get out, survive, and go for another house. And that loop was really fun for me, and I've been really enjoying that part.
Is that like the main loop? So you kind of just like get up or whatever, like it kicks off, and then you just go straight to a building to kind of raid it, or
That's how I've been playing it. I
Yes,
don't think
that's
that is, yeah, I don't think that is the typical way to play it. These
Yeah.
bozos built their own base rather than taking a house that already exists and using that as your base.
well.
That's perfectly viable.
Just to back up 1 second. So the main, thrust of the game is that it's an open world crafting sort kind of survival simulator that every 7 days in the game you get swarmed by zombies and you have to defend against them. And yes, you could be smart and take over another point of interest like
Like this
Maulding
fella right
did.
here. Yeah.
Or you could be creative like me
Boo.
and build your own base with your own traps for the zombies. Like I've dug trenches where I have like sticks that they fall in, they get stuck on, and I've got like
Yeah, those are great for someone who's trying to get into your base that gets stuck on them every single time, because you put them right in front of the stairs, like the stairs to go up. You put them
well, that's where
literally
the
in front of
zombies are
them.
going to come. That's where the
Uh,
zombies are going to come. So I've gotten really into the base building part of it, and I think that's really fun. And I can't wait to level up my base so that I can have like turrets, and I can have
yeah.
different traps, and I can have tripwires and electricity and all that sort of stuff. And I too have had a really good time exploring the world. I played 24 hours already, and
Nice.
I
Oh God,
just
really?
That's
yeah.
good stuff.
And I just barely got enough supplies to craft my bicycle. So now I don't have to like run across the world, and I can drive my bike, because Matt is really correct. These mini dungeons are really well crafted. They're smart. They are like a little maze to get through, and then you get your reward at the end. And so that is very addictive. And at the end, it's really, they're giving you like points to like level up your skills as well, like in these magazines that you have to get. And then other than that, I'm just really enjoying the base building. So I'm having a great time with it. There are some janky parts of it. It's definitely, very PC like. It's obviously 1.0. It's pretty stable build, not too many bugs, but it has a long roadmap of things that they want to add. So I'm super pumped about that. But at the end, like of the game, like in game, I don't know how many hours it takes to get there. You can eventually build cars and monster trucks, and I just really want a monster truck that's going to run over zombies. That's my end game here.
That's
you can take
awesome.
the boy out of Oklahoma, but you can't take Oklahoma out of the boy.
That's right. Get that monster truck out there.
Yeah.
So would you consider it to be like almost like a scary-ish game, or is it nothing like that?
There's definitely, because the zombies will hang out in a room kind of hidden, and
Yeah.
you are just like, boo boo boo, I'm gonna go check this drawer, and then they'll pop
Yep.
out and come get you.
That's kinda
And
scary.
I've always been in just like, oh, I would do really well in a zombie apocalypse, like I'd do just fine. But sometimes they really do swarm you, and it's really hard, and you do die. I've
You
died
do.
quite often. And they
Yes.
did do this thing with the level progression. After you reach level 6, if you die after level 6, you incur XP debt, which then you have to earn that XP off in order to earn XP again for your leveling, which is painful. But you have one thing that kind of offsets that is they allow you to spawn near your death.
Exactly.
Which a
And
lot of the other survival
items.
games
Yes.
do not allow you to do that. You have to start from like your base and run all the way back to your stuff. This game, they allow you to spawn near your stuff, which is very helpful.
I agree. I think XP debt is painful, but such a better alternative to losing items or having to spawn back at your base. So I love it. If you had to give it a score right now, even though it's just version 1.0, Maulding, what number would you give it out of 10?
Out of 10, version 1.0, I'd give it a solid 6.5. Like, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm not getting angry at it. The graphics are a little junky. maybe 7. Maybe I'd give it a 7 because I am having fun with it, and it's another one of these games where just us talking about it, I'm like, ooh, I kind of want to play it right now. Like, and if a game has me doing that, it's a good game. So 7. I think 7 is a good one.
I'm definitely a solid 7.5, maybe 8. I mean, just the description of the game, base building, zombie horde attacks every week. That is exactly what it is. Like it delivers on its premise 100%. I'm curious to see what they've got for us in the end game besides monster trucks. And I think that there's a lot of meat on the bone in terms of add-on content coming down from their roadmap and what they've got planned. So it's a solid crafting survival game, and I can't wait to play more as myself.
If they want to get me to a 9, you allow me to tame the zombies and ride them. That puts me at a 9. I'm in for sure.
If they want me to play the game, just get rid of all the base building and everything and turn it into Call of Duty, and we'll be right there.
Matt, I do no base building at all. None.
Okay.
I have an itty bitty base where I just keep my stuff, and then the rest is just me exploring the houses and looting them and killing zombies.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like base building anymore has just got me. It gets me worked up. I'm not sure what it is, but it's like tough now. I don't know, but I'm sure
into everything. That certainly doesn't help.
Yeah, maybe that's it. No. Who knows?
All right, well, let's move on to the headlines. We've got a lot of stories here, especially when it comes to the game Destiny. I want to hop into those first because it's been a crazy week for them. So let's hit the headlines. First up, Bungie was hit with massive layoffs this week, and it was kind of bloody. For those of you that remember, Bungie actually laid off 100 people just last November, but then unfortunately this week they also laid off 220 people, which is 17% of the studio's workforce. This information comes to us from IGN, and an article titled Destiny Developer Bungie Cuts 220 Staff, Some of the Most Difficult Changes We've Ever Had to Make as a Studio. Says the cuts affect every level of the company, including most of the Sony-owned studios' executive and senior leader roles. Bungie boss Pete Parsons said in a blog post on Bungie.net. Today is a difficult and painful day, Parsons added. Departing staff will be offered a generous exit package that includes severance, bonus, and health coverage. Bungie promised. Parsons blamed the cuts on the rising cost of development, industry shifts, and enduring economic conditions. Because of this, Parsons insisted Bungie has had to make substantial changes to its cost structure and focus development on efforts entirely on the live service shooter Destiny and the upcoming Marathon. So it goes on talking about the reception of the final shape and how that was really good. But I found that interesting. And then also a couple more headlines before I want to get your guys' reaction. The second article that came from IGN today, I also thought was interesting. And that was titled, Former Bungie Worker Claims Studio Faced Insolvency Without Sony Acquisition. So Bungie, for those of you who don't know, was purchased by Sony in 2022, but this article by Kat Bailey from IGN is alleging that there might have been some misrepresentation on the revenue, and numbers were fudged a little bit when Sony took a look and bought them. The article says Bungie misrepresented its finances and had significantly overextended itself when Sony acquired the studio for $3.6 billion in 2022. Former workers claim in a new game file report published in the wake of Wednesday's layoffs. It was also apparent bad enough that at least one source described it as, quote, a well-connected former worker went so far as to claim that Bungie faced dire consequences if the acquisition hadn't happened, saying that the alternate history is insolvency. So just given it, like the layoffs have been bad, but the numbers quite haven't been there for some time. How do you guys react to this? What are your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, that's pretty intense that they were kind of like just boosting the numbers. They're like, hey, look, we're valuable. We're Bungie. We made Halo. Come buy a Sony. And then that was kind of like all fake, essentially. Is that what they're trying to say?
I think that's what's being alluded to here.
Alleged. Yes. Yeah, allegedly. Yeah. It's crazy. I mean, we're all, it's like under the hood. We keep talking about AI. We have the CEO, Pete, who, stepped away from buying all his cars to write a blog post saying goodbye to all the employees. Jeez. It's just
We should clarify that you're referring to the fact that based on 2022, right after the sale of Bungie to Sony, Pete then bought $2.3 million worth of cars and started a car collection that
yes,
was pretty public. So yeah, it's not a good
and
look.
not a good look. It's honestly just like crazy. I mean, I also heard that like some of these employees that are getting laid off, they're also going to go to like Sony a little bit. So they're not like fully getting laid off. And then like, I think Jeff Grubb was
Well,
saying
220 are fully laid off. And then there was an
fully.
additional, like I heard the reports between 30 and 70 that would be folded into Sony. Additionally, folded into Sony, now that you mention it, is the next game that they were working on. So they had a couple projects apparently that just weren't, coming to fruition fast enough, and they were burning too much cash on it. The next Destiny game, codenamed Payback, and they're saying a Destiny like, it's not necessarily Destiny 3, but codename Payback has reportedly been canceled. So it sounds like they're canceling projects. They're shuffling off a lot of people to Sony, and then they're just only focusing on Marathon and Destiny at this point.
I mean, my final take is like they better make sure Marathon is buttoned up tight, because it doesn't sound like the studio, it doesn't sound like it's going really in the right direction, no matter which way you look at it. So Marathon being just like a looter shooter, it's going to need to just like blow the doors off of sales to get Bungie back to its former glory. So we'll see what happens there.
Agreed. Maulding, thoughts?
So correct me if I'm wrong. Destiny is the only game out there that Bungie has right now, correct? Because they don't own Halo anymore. Halo is totally owned by Microsoft. So it's just Destiny, all of its expansions, and then this new game. That's what is out.
Yeah, it sounds like they were working on a lot of stuff, and they had, quote unquote, spread themselves too thin. Yeah, and that's why the workers are saying bad management. Like, why did you do this to us? So
I think the lesson might be, don't get yourselves bought by a bigger company, because it's not ending up well for anybody, for any of these studios. You get bought, there's layoffs. So I feel really bad for those people who don't seem to have any say in the matter. And I bet you that these people that are being rolled into Sony are the executives, probably not the bread and butter developers. They're probably the executives. I don't know. That's just me guessing. I don't have any insider knowledge or anything. I just feel, we say this every time we talk about these layoffs. I feel bad for these people who just want to make games, and the studios want to make money for their shareholders. So those things seem to be conflicting all the time.
I agree. Definitely, condolences to the people laid off, and the thoughts are with them. My other, alternately, I am a little bit concerned about, hopefully this does not affect the quality of Destiny 2. Hopefully it doesn't, say that, okay, now they're going to have more microtransactions, and now we're going to have higher
already
price
microtransactioned out the ass. It's crazy.
I remember when we used to love it and we used to play it all the time, and now I can't get back into it because of it.
Gorgeous, gorgeous game. And it is a lot of fun to play. I really love the online multiplayer. I thought that was a blast to do. It's really, really pretty. I think the gameplay was super fun. Story got a little convoluted by the end. By the end of when I stopped playing, and that's been 2 or 3 expansions since then. But at that point, it was like, you have silver, you have which silver was a currency, and there were like 3 other currencies that you had to deal with for like cosmetics, and I don't know. It got to be a mess.
Agreed, but it did give me one of my favorite memories in a shooter game, and that was, they've got these really hard raids that has to be done by 6 people that know everything they're doing. And I talked Maulding and a couple of friends into it, and I got a Sherpa online on Reddit, and we got 2 Sherpas to guide us through this raid that is super, super hard, through these challenges, and they coached us, and it was it was the best experience I had in Destiny, and it was like no other game. And I thought that was really cool. And it's just a bummer to see this game really having problems now.
Yep, agreed.
That's
All right,
too
moving
bad.
on though. Speaking of big games having a little bit of a hiccup, Maulding, you had a story about Call of Duty and cheaters.
Yeah, so Activision explains that weird spike in Call of Duty cheaters last week. So this is from PC Gamer, from Jonathan Bolding. He says Activision has given some explanation as to why fans were noticing more cheaters than normal in Call of Duty recently, saying on the Call of Duty Updates X account that its anti-cheat system had an issue, which has since been resolved. Players started posting about an increase in cheating after the launch of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 Season 5 and its simultaneous launch on Game Pass that happened on July 24th. Ricochet is an anti-cheat resolved an issue with a detection system over the weekend, which resulted in a spike in cheater reports. So in short, Activision has just nabbed a bunch of cheaters, basically. Game developer reports on cheating methods, and cheaters are often deliberately obfuscated, vague, and unclear in order to keep cheat developers in the dark about the countermeasures being deployed against them. So I think we've talked a few weeks in a row about cheating and what we think about cheating in games, and how it really does just ruin the fun for a bread and butter player like me, who just wants to go in, like, test my skill against people who are around the same skill level and see if I am better than them. And to have cheaters involved is just an absolute mess. So it ends with cheating is always a hot button topic in the competitive world of first person shooters. Activision actually won a $14.5 million court case against a cheat maker earlier this year. And just yesterday, another folded under legal threats without a fight at all. So when these companies are really on these cheaters and they're doing the job of getting them up and out, like, then it's great that they're doing something about it to help everyone. So I just thought that was a really interesting story, that there was just this like bump of cheaters that they had to take care of, and then now it's back to normal, as if like they saw an opportunity to get in there and get a few new headshots and shoot people through walls, and then I guess feel good about themselves that they won a match by cheating. I don't understand that feeling.
I agree, but it's good that they said something, because you kind of have to say something, because being on the receiving end of a cheater, sniper through walls sucks. It sucks big time.
Yeah.
In fact, it makes you want to toss your controller and not play anymore. And
absolutely.
it's a sure sign that they're not taking care of their game if there's a bunch of cheaters in it. And that's why I like to turn off PC crossplay, because everyone on PC is a cheater. So FPC. But that's besides the point.
Uh-oh.
So I do think this is a good press beat for them. And then
Yeah.
going out there and
Yeah.
saying they're trying to take care of it, that is a good look.
Huh. Like, it's just
from
weird.
our resident cheater. What is our resident cheater?
Exactly.
All right, let me tell you this. I mean, I jumped in. I was cheating. I just think it's funny that they didn't really explain why it was like busted. I mean, I bet you this happens a lot, and because there was like, when I was playing Warzone a lot and on PC, there was cheaters all over the place. Like, you could report somebody a million times and you'll still see a cheater the next, you'll see them again. You'll be like, oh, what's going on? So this Ricochet system, in my book, I think a lot of games, they talk about these anti-cheats that could go to like kernel level on your PC, that like would solve the issue, but it's more like invasive. I think that's kind of the argument against the anti-cheats. But like a thing like Ricochet, I feel like all these cheats are so sophisticated now. Like, for instance, I hear there's cheats that like it can detect when Ricochet looks at your screen, and it will turn off immediately. It'll like disable.
Now you're just making me paranoid.
No,
thanks.
Yeah.
These things are crazy. These cheats are just through the roof. I don't know if it'll ever be resolved unless it's something very substantial. Otherwise, this is going to just continue.
It's going to keep going. They're going to continue to one up each other, and just hopefully it doesn't get too out of hand.
Yeah,
They
crazy.
did say, Activision did say one of the best ways is to catch cheaters is reporting. Like if
Yeah.
you see something suspicious, you report it, and that gives them a note in the
See
game
something,
that
say something.
see something, say something. A note in the game that, hey, let's take a look at this person or this account and check it out to see if they're a cheater. I swear, in Overwatch the other day, or it was this morning or yesterday, there was a Baptiste that had 30 kills in our match, and I was convinced that person was cheating. Now, they very well could have just been really, really good, but I felt like I was getting hit in the head just constantly and killed multiple times.
Maulding, that's the zimming. That's the zimming.
The
That's the
zimming?
people connecting mouse and keyboard to the Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
And it's mouse and keyboard, but with the controller like auto or is it auto aim? No, what am I?
Yeah,
Auto
auto
aim.
aim. Yeah, because
Yeah.
auto aim is taken
Yeah.
off when you're keyboard and mouse.
And no, but with this zimming thing, it is still
Yeah.
on. So people just
It's
go God mode. It's crazy. That's like a huge
that's so
problem that we've been
annoying.
talking about. So
all right,
Cheaters.
well,
Cheaters gonna
moving
cheat.
on. Yeah, exactly. Moving on, but sticking with Activision, Lord, you had a story I wanted to fight you about.
yeah, absolutely.
Fight,
This
fight,
one's
fight.
so good.
Yes, exactly. Ding, ding, ding.
So
I'm
guess
gonna lick
what?
my
Like
chops.
out of nowhere, Activision did this like little test, and they turned off skill-based matchmaking in COD as an experiment. And guess what? Everybody hated it. So like recently, sometime this week, like Activision published this insane. It was a 25-page paper delving into skill-based matchmaking, and I read a lot of it because I was very curious. And they took into.
Did you read it to your daughter at night to put her
I
to
did.
sleep?
I was like, time to go to sleep. I was like, I printed it out. I had it on computer paper. And it was, I mean, it was a lot to understand. I thought it was actually a little bit, it was very, very thorough. But essentially, what it boiled down to was Call of Duty turned off skill based matchmaking. And it turns out that without skill based matchmaking, players quit sooner. They'll just quit. And
I do.
okay, but in
let's
my
fight it out.
opinion, oh yeah,
Yes.
in my opinion, I don't like skill-based matchmaking. And this one thing I will die on
Why?
this hill. I don't think
Yes.
it's necessary, especially in ranked matches. I completely understand, but in quick play, anything goes. Anything goes. You should be able to play
No, I
against
think you
any
got that
player.
backwards.
No. Ranked, I am ready to go up against my skill level and sweat. No questions asked.
Yes.
Quick
exactly.
play, I will go in and I could get rolled by a super sweaty player, or I could go in and stomp some
Roll
noobs.
a bunch of noobs.
Yeah, it should be. It doesn't matter. I don't want to go into a quick play and get skill-based matchmaking
no way.
lobbies. I just think that is so pointless. Like, I don't need that. I just need.
What, you don't want to compete with people on your own level? You just want to punch down? Is that what you're saying?
I don't mind punching up or down. I'll get rolled and accept it, no problem. And that's fine. But like, I also don't mind going in and be like, this guy's a total noob. I'm going to get some kills here too. It's just
I'm
like,
going to be completely honest. There is no chance in hell I would ever have like a crown on Fall Guys or as many wins as I do on Fortnite if it wasn't for skill-based matchmaking. If I'm put into the games with PC players that can like snipe and cheat and all that sort of stuff, they're going to wipe the floor with us. And that's really what I feel like it is that these people just want to pick on the noobs or the weekend warriors like myself, and it's not fair because I haven't been playing all week the way they have been. I want to be matched up with people who only play on the weekend, who might just be a little bit more casual than the hardcore sweaty folks. And that's why I quit playing DBD initially to begin with, is because it's all sweat all the time. And I was a noob who was just coming in, and I would just get the floor wiped with me, and I was like, I'm out of here. But the games that do have good skill-based matchmaking, I play all the time. In fact, I play even more because I know I'm going to be competing against people that are similar to me, that haven't been sitting, they're like teenagers that just play 24/7. I mean, God bless them. I like to watch them on Twitch, but I don't want to go up against them. And that's what protects me from.
Okay. But my question is, I'm still sweating in these skill-based matchmaking games. I'm not like going in and being like, I'm chill. Like, here's like, here, I'm playing people that are my skill, like I go in, I'm like, whoa, I'm in a whole different league. Why am I in here? So in that case, I'm just like, I don't understand. I don't feel like that's in my, I quit all the time too, because I'm like, I'm getting rolled in these lobbies. Like skill-based matchmaking needs an overhaul. Then something else needs to come in. I still think there's gaps in this 25-page paper that I was just like, I think there still needs to be a differential. There has to be a difference between quick play and ranked. And that is, I think if you go into quick play, it should be the Wild West. You should be able to get play with anybody. And then ranked, that's where the skill-based matchmaking comes in, and you play against your similar. That's where you get like placed with a similar skill. I don't know.
Okay,
Maulding, you're being quiet over there. What do you
I just want to say real quickly though.
I'm just listening. Just listening.
Yeah,
I have my opinions. I'll talk about it once Dan's talks about his wrong opinion.
Yeah.
I'll talk about the right opinion.
I think we found the solution here.
Yeah.
And I think the solution is not necessarily what you're saying, but having two different modes. Let people decide whether they want skill-based matchmaking, and let people decide whether they want the Wild West. Make two offerings. And then I'll be happy to just camp out in skill-based matchmaking unless I'm feeling wild and crazy and want to jump into the other one. But I think just make two. That's what I say. Maulding?
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's all.
Pardon my dog in the background.
That's because he's cheering for me because he agrees.
He is.
Dobby agrees.
Cheering.
Two modes.
Cheering for the wrong opinion. No, I think we've come to the happy medium. It's that if there are two modes, I totally agree. If there are stakes involved, there is skill-based matchmaking is perfect. If there are stakes, if you want to climb higher, that skill-based is very important. If you just want to mess around and play, pop in, try to learn a new character's skills, try to learn something, I don't want that to be sweaty. I want that to be casual. I want that to be,
And if sweat is there, then so be it. Like that. Yeah, there could be casuals. There could be, it could be all over the place. And that is right now when I go into a quick play in Overwatch, half of the time it's sweatier than I go into a ranked. It's like, it blows my mind. I'm like, how does this work? And that's just something I don't know. It just is it's a tough one. I mean, they decided to publish a 25-page paper on it, so it obviously is a topic to discuss.
Let's move on.
Sure.
Because there are a couple of Xbox stories I want to get to before we wrap this section up. But thank you for bringing that up because that was good,
absolutely.
and I respect your opinion.
For sure.
And I feel like we found a good solution, and now all we have to do is get them to listen to us and implement it.
We'll see.
Yeah, right.
Not listen to my dog barking.
Yeah. Well, one game that definitely won't have this solution in it is Avowed. One, it's not multiplayer, but two, this big Xbox exclusive could be delayed to 2025. This is a story from GameSpot. I know, bummer. Microsoft and Obsidian Entertainment's Avowed is reportedly going to be delayed to 2025. Now, this is totally a rumor, but I just want to throw it out there. While a release date was never officially announced, a leak from Microsoft itself said it would be November 2024, and essentially we were expecting it this year. According to The Verge, Microsoft is delaying Avowed due to the Xbox Game Pass busy schedule in the fall. While Avowed is reportedly in good shape, Xbox wants to create some breathing room for other games, such as console-exclusive Stalker 2, which is due out in November, as well as October's Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Windows Central also has corroborated the report, saying it received similar information. Another one of Xbox exclusives, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, doesn't have an official release date, but is reportedly sometime in December. It's unknown whether Indiana Jones will make it in 2024 window or be pushed back to 2025 as well. Xbox has had a few exclusives this year, such as Dungeons of Hinterberg and Senua's Saga. However, pushing Avowed to 2025 would be a blow to its 2024 lineup, especially as Xbox is increasing the price of Game Pass later this year. How do you guys react to this rumor?
Avowed was the only one of these games that I was super pumped for. I don't really care about the Call of Duty game. I certainly don't care about the Indiana Jones game. I think that one looks like poop. So I'm not excited about that one. It's just I've always felt this way, that I feel like I know why they do it, but I feel like a game announce the game and put it out the next week, or put it out that week. I love that style. This like tell me about a game 3 years before it comes out and then continuously delaying it just really kills any enthusiasm I have for a game. Except for Elder Scrolls 6, which they announced like 5 years ago in a little video, which I'm still pumped about, and I still want to come out every year, but I still get disappointed. That's the only exception. But other than that, like it's just a bummer. And if they're blaming it on who cares if there are other Game Pass games coming out at the same time? I'm getting it for free. Like, I don't know.
It just makes me concerned. I think just Xbox needs a win and get a game. They just need to release a good old fashioned game, and seeing this get pushed. Yeah, I mean, I know Maulding, you just come straight to my mind because it's like, I know we were stoked for this. We watched that little developer thing and they made that such a big deal over that. And I'm with you, Maulding. I don't think Indiana Jones is going to be the hit. If there's something that's going to kind of, something to get excited for, it's this game. And now we'll just have to wait longer. It's like, it's not nice for the Xbox. Like, we need something on this console now.
Yeah. I agree. But here's the real reason that I wanted to talk about this. And this is my real concern. Are they going to start teasing games to sell Game Pass subscriptions and then delay those games to sell more Game Pass subscriptions? That's what a troubling trend we could see here. Maybe I'm being paranoid, but it's like we see these things, they get delayed all the time. But with Game Pass, it's even easier to do it, and you're going to make more money because you're going to make more people wait for it. So there's a financial incentive for them to actually delay these games, and that is what has me truly concerned. I can't accuse them of it just yet, but it's definitely something we need to keep an eye on. Also, the games that do or do not come to Game Pass could affect console sales. Maulding, I think you had a story about console sales this week as well.
This comes from one of my favorite video game writers, Paul Tassi at Forbes. This article is Xbox console sales are down another 42%, which Microsoft seems fine with. Xbox continues to make it so you do not need to buy an Xbox console to play Xbox games, and so a lot fewer people are buying Xboxes. In the latest financial quarter, Microsoft revealed that gaming hardware sales have fallen 42%, which is an even steeper decline than the 31% drop reported in the previous quarter. The good news is that gaming revenue overall was up 44%, the boost due to the acquisition of Activision Blizzard. If that hadn't happened, it would have been closer to only 3%. We've talked about this multiple times too. Like, if Xbox evidently wants people to play their games everywhere, and they don't care about console sales anymore, and so they're not putting that effort in, so no one's buying consoles. So I'm guessing that Xbox expected this result, which is fine, I guess, if they expected it. But from Amy Hood, Microsoft's Amy Hood had a bit of a corporate speak to make all of this sound okay. The real goal here is to take a broad set of content to more users in more places and build something that looks more like, to us, a software annuity and subscription business with enhanced transactions and the ownership of IP, which is quite valuable long term. We're encouraged by the progress and how we're making progress with Game Pass, which is just the biggest corporate speak gobbledygook thing I've ever read in my life. So I think they're expecting it. I don't think it's a surprise to them. I don't know how it could be a surprise to them. Certainly not a surprise to me. But how do you guys feel about that?
Dan?
They just need the games.
That's
I think that I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. I don't think anyone really cares about the cloud.
My pay grade.
Yeah, I don't think anyone cares about the cloud. They need to focus on their hardware.
When are they, like, how much more down can the Xbox sales be? I feel like at this point, it's got to be in some sort of like negative zone. It's like 44%, 60%, 50%. It's like, what is going on? How
Dan and I are the only ones that play it.
I got this Xbox Series S fired up.
That's right.
We're going hard.
S. You don't count. You've got.
I know.
S.
I feel like I need to upgrade to the X, to be honest, but I feel like maybe that's just That's stupid.
You'll probably be the only one that sells sells a console.
I know. I just we need some games. I think stop delaying them and get some games out there.
Exactly. Believe it or not, games will sell your console. So anyway, moving on. Lord, you had a debate topic for us.
Yeah. Okay. So, this one's the classic. So, I was playing some online games and I'm just over here like I was just like, what so this is my take. So, what screams you don't have your SHIT together
You
while
could say.
online gaming? And I was just like, there's a few variables here. My first one is when I'm in an online game and I hear somebody's smoke alarm going off in the background, I'm just
For
like,
sure.
dude, like we got to get our priorities straight. Like go up, get a ladder, get a D battery in that smoke detector, and
do what I do, just cut the wires and
cut
unscrew
the
it.
wire
Yeah, that's
off.
what I do.
That's
What could go wrong?
That's the landlord
No.
special.
Yeah.
And so that's my first one. And then the next one, my buddy has a pair of Astro A50s. And when the battery dies, you hear the chirping on
Oh,
your
no.
side.
God.
So I'm like,
That's from hell.
and it always is beeping. I'm like, bro, do you need to charge these things? Like, I'm freaking out. I can't hear this. I'm like, so those are my two. I'm like, that just screams like, get it together on there. Get it together on the multiplayer for your teammates' sake. How about you guys?
Yeah. So I immediately, the only real games I play multiplayer with online are DBD and Overwatch. We've talked a lot about Overwatch tonight. But my biggest one is when I'm playing a competitive game of Overwatch and we're waiting on a person who hasn't chosen their character when the starting buzzer has gone off. That drives me nuts. Absolutely.
I tried to do the ready up, unready, ready. Not in that game, but just in all games. I'll ready up, unready, I'm ready up. It's like just trying to tell them, hey, ready up.
Yeah, so
That's a
any
good one.
sort of delay in an online game tells me that you're not focused on that. And when I'm playing competitive, I'm very sweaty about it and I want to win. And if 4 of our 5 players are out there getting ready, all prepared to fight, and we've got one numbnuts still in the starting area, hasn't picked his character yet, I know that person is not serious about my game. Or
I feel a
about the
little
game, and we're
attacked,
probably gonna
Maulding.
lose.
Sometimes when I'm on defense, I will be in the spawn area, like, oh, I got 5 seconds to get to the choke. Oh shit.
Yes, this whole podcast was created as an intervention so that you would stop doing that tonight. So thank you.
Oh, well, interventions can work both ways, because
right.
I sometimes play with people that sit next to their air conditioning and it blows
isn't
right
that
on
awful?
their microphone.
I know, it sucks. It's really terrible.
Right on their microphone.
That's really, it just shows a lot of disrespect for one's teammates to do that. I agree.
No, I kid about that just because you sit next to your air conditioning. But what really annoys me is I will go into these lobbies and there's always this one asshole who has their microphone on, but they're not saying anything. They've just got their music on in the background. And I'm like, what? Am I supposed to enjoy the music that's being filtered to your crappy ass microphone coming over here sounding like crap? And also, I think probably your taste in music is crap, and it doesn't make you cool. It makes you an asshole because I can't hear anything other than your music, and I can't even talk to anybody else on my team. So that's an instant mute for me, and it's just annoying that people do that. And then the other thing is,
happened yesterday. I totally agree.
Yep. Yeah, those people just don't have their priorities straight in life. That, and if you're going to play online multiplayer games, I hate to judge, but you got to be wired. You can't really be playing on Wi-Fi unless you're on a Switch. You don't have much of a choice. You got to be wired. Otherwise, you're going to be bouncing all over the map and you're not going to realize it. But we can see you being an idiot, but you don't notice you're an idiot because you're on Wi-Fi. And I'm just like, ugh, these Wi-Fi players, they're for the birds, man.
Dan, well said. That one is, that is peak right there, bud. I love that because I am you cannot play on Wi-Fi. You have to hardwire for these online games.
For sure. For sure.
So good. Well, thanks for entertaining with that one, boys. Yeah. We had to vent a little bit on those multiplayer games.
I feel like that came from something this week, possibly. I don't know.
You guys a couple times. I had to get it out there. No, not at all.
All right. On that note, we can start to wrap things up, but please make sure you're subscribed to our socials, and on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button. And on behalf of our Good Playing With You crew, Matt Lord, Matt Maulding, and myself, Dan Whitehill, have a great weekend. And as always, good playing with you.
Good playing with you.
Good playing with you.